Hey everybody, Fabrizio Van Marciano here, welcome back to the channel. So if you are new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also the notifications bell to get updates on new videos. So yeah, welcome back to another Oxygen Builder 6.0 video. So in this one, I thought it would be useful for me to share with you my recent experiences with the new Oxygen Builder, Oxygen 6, now that I've been toying around with it for a few days. So I want to highlight some of the issues that I found with regards to the user interface and also some UX issues, as well as bugs, workflow constraints. So this is not a video of me bashing Oxygen Builder at all, but just things that I think should be improved or could be improved, hopefully very soon. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. So once again, guys, I've spent the past few days really trying to figure out Oxygen 6, and for the most part still, I do find the UI quite pleasing. It works for me, though I cannot speak for everyone else. Of course, we all work differently. But that said, there are certainly some things that need addressing, which I'll talk about shortly. Now, for the team at Oxygen, once again, I want to say thank you for giving us Oxygen 6 and the opportunity to continue this journey, and I'm very much excited and looking forward to some updates coming hopefully soon. I know it is early days yet, but yeah, there it is. Now, some of the bugs that I've encountered are what I consider critical, but not in a catastrophic way like the builder crashing entirely, but in terms of usability. Now, these need fixing fast, otherwise it's going to be hard to try and build any meaningful website, let alone create content using Oxygen. And I really want to dive in and start thinking about creating a framework and workflow, etc. But that is not possible until some of these bugs have been squashed, I think, anyway. But I'd love to hear if anyone else has experienced the issues that I have with this version of Oxygen as they continue testing. And again, I know this is a beta phase. No one should be using Oxygen 6 to build live websites or anything like that. That is a definite no-no. Testing only is what Oxygen 6 is currently good for. And so I've been doing just that. So let's get started with this. And I want to start with some potential bugs that I found. Now, again, these are potential bugs that I have encountered. And I say potential because for all I know, they could be undocumented features. Okay, that was meant to be a joke, but anyway, let's get started. So breakdance elements is what I want to start with. As you may know, Oxygen 6, breakdance share the same builder engine, and we can use breakdance elements inside of the new Oxygen. And by the way, if you're installing this for the first time, as I understand, you don't need to add the license keys or anything like that. It should work straight away out the box once installed. But here's the thing from the breakdance elements library. I've experienced an issue where I cannot fully customize the design of that element using the settings and options. So I'm going to give you an example here. I have some headings inside here. Now, if I just open up the structure panel here very quickly. So these headings here are from the breakdance elements library. Okay, so I've assigned a class to these. Let me just select one of them here. And so yeah, I have a simple class heading. And then we can see up here that the HTML tag is set to H1, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But if I select the class here and then go down to the design options, so for example, let me just go to typography here. Now, a lot of this does work, but there are some things that don't actually work. So for example, I cannot go in here and change the color. As you can see here, it just doesn't change here at the class level. All right, and also let me just come out of this. I cannot change the font family, okay? So let me select something else here. As you can see, we have no change. The font weight, I can change this. It does change here. But the font size is another thing that doesn't change. So I can add something ridiculous like 5 rems in here and no change. So there are some things that work and some things that don't. Unless, of course, I come down here to custom CSS and write some CSS in here. So maybe I could add the class and then change something like the color of the font to red. But it doesn't work on its own without adding an important tag, which is pretty useless. I mean, we wouldn't work this way. It's ridiculous. So let me get rid of that here. What I can do, if I just come back here, and by the way, a little tip here, if you want to remove the styling from one of these sub options inside of a tab here, so for example, we have typography, and we want to remove the color, we can just double click on the highlighted style here. Okay, so font cleared, weight cleared, size cleared. Okay, now it has. So yeah, we can also right click, as you know, and select clear typography. By the way, guys, if you want to get access to expert design WordPress tutorials, as well as my Bricks Builder and Oxygen Builder design mastery courses, complete with class-based projects, code snippets, design sets, and templates, then do check out my membership options over at vanmarciano.pro. I'm currently having a spring promotion where you can save 33% off your yearly membership or lifetime deals as well. The link is in the description for this video, so go check it out. Now, let's continue. Now, in order to style these elements, the heading element, for example, if I head up here to these three little dots, by the way, if you do not see these three little dots here, I think, or I do believe, that you need to have the breakdance elements for Oxygen installed, the add-on, in order to see this, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that is the case. So if I click on this and select global settings here, I can actually go into typography and then go to advanced, and then headings, and then all headings. And I can change the color here, okay? So I can change it here. As you can see, the color is changing. I can also change the font family, okay? I can change the font size perfectly well here, and so on. So we can style the headings inside of the global settings, but not at the class level, which just doesn't seem right. I'm thinking there must be some CSS somewhere in the builder that is taking priority. That is my guess. This is not good. For now, though, it seems that we can only add certain styles, such as the font size, font family, color, and various other things, and it can only be done by modifying the global settings. So that is a bug, I do believe. Let me just close this now. Close this, close this, close this. And again, we can double click on this to clear the styles that we've just added. So next we have a button. Now the button has the same or similar issue, or has a related issue with regards to styling. So if I select it here, and by the way, let me just go back to the structure panel. So the button, again, is from the Breakdance library. Now we cannot change the background color, the font weight, font size, etc. So I have a class, button, and if I go to the background here and select the color, let's try something like red or orange, you can see that nothing is happening here. And that just seems a little bit strange to me. So what else can we not do? Let's go to typography, font family. Can we change this? Okay, so that seems to work. As I said, there are some things that do work and some things that don't. But I do believe the font weight doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. And also the font size. All right, so yeah, it doesn't work. But we have this strange thing going on here. Why is this adding what appears to be uneven padding outside of the button container? Yeah, it's just all a little bit strange. So there are some issues, there are some bugs that need fixing with this. So let me just right click and clear all of this here. Now, again, if we go back into our three little dots up here, global styles, we can actually go into the buttons and style the primary and secondary buttons, okay? So I can change the color here, maybe change this to, let's go for the red or orange again. So here I can change this, and then I can go into my secondary and change this. I don't have a secondary one here, but so yeah, we can customize the button at the global settings level, not at the class level inside of the builder, if that makes sense. Now, how do we change this button from a primary to a secondary? I think there's an option up here. Where is it? I can't remember where I saw it now. Oh, here we go, button. So it's under this tab here, design. So we can change that from primary to secondary. So here's our secondary, which we just styled. And we can also add a custom and text as well. But yeah, it's a little buggy for my liking. So I'm going to right click this and then clear background. And actually, let's, yeah, that's all we did, isn't it? Yeah. Just a couple of issues that I wanted to outline here. Now, I've not tested all of the other elements from the Breakdance library, obviously, but I imagine there's going to be a few in there with similar issues. Now, there is something else that I think is a bug, and that is regarding the tags. So I'm going to select this heading component here, and this is a H1, okay? So I've set this to H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6, but as you can see here, they're all the same size. What does this mean? So if I head back to the three little dots up here and go to global settings, which I'm already in by the looks of it, let me close this and close this. Yeah, we want to go back into typography here. Let's go to advanced headings. And so here we can customize each of the header tags from H1 to H6. But let me just go into the H2, for example, and I'm going to show you what happens when I change the font size for the H2, bearing in mind that this is the only one that is using the H2 tag, okay? You can see that they're all changing here. So this has to be a bug, unless I'm doing something wrong here and I need to play around with it a little bit more. But I'm pretty sure that I'm not doing anything wrong here. I don't think all of these should be resizing. So yeah, that's another issue that I found here. And there's various other ones that I'm still experimenting with, but yeah, these bugs need to be addressed quickly. Otherwise, as I said, it's going to be difficult to try and use this version of Oxygen to create a meaningful test website and so on. So I'm going to close this now, and let me just right click and clear this and this one as well. So again, just to summarize, I'm sure there are a ton of other issues, and I'm sure those issues will be fixed in time with future updates. And I do hope that some of the ones that I've highlighted so far will be fixed quickly so that we can continue exploring and testing Oxygen 6. Okay, so next I want to highlight some UX issues. Now, these are going to be mainly personal preferences more than anything, but there are one or two that definitely needs a bit of a rework. So yeah, let's talk about those next. So let's start with the first one. So I have the section here selected. As you can see here, I don't have the class highlighted here. Now, this section, so if I head over to the design option in here and click this, I'm going to go to, which one is it that I want to go to? Let's go to spacing, because I think there's an issue with this. So here we have a completely different experience for adding padding inside of our container or our section here. So we can add 10 pixels in here and then click on apply all. Now this is familiar because we've seen this inside of older versions of Oxygen, or should I say Oxygen Classic. We've also seen it inside of Breaks, and is Breakdance like this as well? I can't remember. But yeah, this will be very familiar to a lot of people. If I select the class here, remember that we're viewing spacing. So if I select the class here and then go back to spacing, now we have a completely different experience, which is a little bit baffling. So I prefer, personally, if I can go back to this one here, I prefer this kind of layout because here I'm familiar with this. We can add our value inside here, 10 pixels, and then click on apply all. And that doesn't work anyway, so there's another bug. But let me just clear this here. And if we go to the section or select the class here and go back to spacing, we have a completely different experience to add paddings and margins to our container element. And also here, by the way, if we add a value in here, so for example, if we add 10 pixels, so this does work, but we can't, there is no option to apply this all the way around to the top, bottom, left, and right. So we have to add them in one by one. So 10 pixels top, and then 10 pixels to the right, and then the bottom, and so on. So yeah, we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but just wanted to highlight that kind of issue we have. We can't apply the padding all the way around. We can't apply the margin all the way around. So yes, going back to the UX for the spacing, we have two different versions of this. We have this kind of layout, and then if we go to select design, we have this kind of layout. A little bit confusing. Okay, so that's the first one. So the next UX issue that I have is with regards to this icon here. Now, if I hover over any of these icons, we can see what it is because we have this little dialog that comes up at the top of the corner of the screen here. So up here, okay, so we have conditions, and then we have interactions, and then we have override variables. But here we have animations. Now, that is fine, except if we head over here, we have the same icon that does something completely different. This is, let me just save this a minute. So this is to preview the page on the front end, which is a bit strange. So what I would do to fix that problem personally is probably get rid or remove this option completely and add an option inside here. So we have two options open in the new tab and copy URL. Maybe we have an option in here for preview and get rid of this. Let me go back to, where was I? I can't even remember now. So yeah, we have different user experiences for spacing, and we have the same icon styles for different uses. One for adding animations here, and another one here for previewing. Now, I know this little icon here is inspired by Webflow. Do I have a Webflow tab open here? Yes, I do. So if I have a look here, you can see we have this little play icon here for preview. So I imagine that's where that comes from. So let's go back to Oxygen here. Okay, so those are a couple of issues that I have. So the other UX issue that I found is, let me just select this heading here, and then let's select the class and go to typography, and then select a, where is it? Font. Okay, so select the font. And so, yeah, we can't preview any of this here, okay? And again, that's not necessarily a massive issue. I'm just used to seeing it inside of Webflow here. So if I come over here, select my heading here, I can come down to, where is it now, style, and then go to typography, font, And you can see here I can preview the font before adding it into my canvas, into my page. But here we can't do this. So I would love to probably see a similar feature, since the entire UI for Oxygen 6 is more or less inspired by the Webflow user interface. I say inspired because I don't want to use the word replicated or ripped off or anything like that. Okay, so that is that. That is the other issue that I have. But as I said, this is a personal issue. Now, there's another one that I want to highlight, and that is a pretty critical one. So let's say you are highlighting this text here, and you want to remove some part of the text. Now you can click back, clear that text. But what happens if you select something and you forget to double click, and then you accidentally press the back key? Tell you what happens, you literally delete everything that's on the canvas, okay? So there is this accidental deletion of elements or an entire page structure if you hit the back button by accident. So you have to be really careful with this, guys. Luckily, the undo and redo buttons up here, they work quite well without a flaw. Okay, so there you go. All right, so are there any more that I want to mention? Yes, there is a couple of accessibility issues that I want to highlight. So the first one is with regards to the active class token color, which I think is a little bit too dark against the dark gray background up here. So this purple highlight here that we have for the class or token or selector, whatever you want to call it, along with all of these little indicators here as well, I think that is a little bit too dark against this gray background. And I struggle. Maybe no one else does, but I do struggle to see that a little bit. Now, maybe these could be a different color. And let's see if we can do this. Let's just right click and then select Inspect. Let's select our node tool, and then we want to, let's just highlight this one here first of all, if we can. So this is the Oxy class token. So here it is. Can we not? Oh, never mind. I wanted to expand this bit here, but obviously I can't. So let's just go in here, background color. Let's see if we can change this to something else. So I think it should be something like this, okay? That I can see quite well, and I think it fits in quite well as well. So maybe we can customize this using some custom CSS, I don't know. But yeah, I think they're a little bit too dark, and the same for these little indicators here. So let me just select my node tool again. Let's see if we can select this here. Is it here? Did I not select it? Oh, here we go. Oxy indicator lights before. Okay, so again, let's just select a different color here. So here I can see this quite clearly. Maybe we can change this to a different color. Maybe something like green. Something like this. But yeah, I think the selector token highlight, yeah, this is a bit silly here, but I think there should be a different color. Again, for accessibility, some people might struggle to see that against the dark background. I certainly do, but yeah, it might be something that we can customize using some CSS. Now, the other thing is with regards to these accordion tabs here, or the name tabs, whatever you want to call them. I think that when we have this open here, if we have multiple ones open here, it's actually difficult to separate the tab title or the name with the options that's listed below that tab. Now, I know I'm probably making zero sense at this stage, but let me just give you an example here. So maybe what we could do is, let me select the node tool again. Let's go back to maybe this one here, the spacing. So the Oxy accordion name, let's see. Okay, so there is no background color for this. Maybe we can add one. So let's try something like background color. And then I'm just going to type in red to begin with. Enter. And then we can just change this here. So let's go for something like, yeah, something like this, along those lines. So now we can actually make out what is what. So if I close all of my tabs here and open up the typography, so I can see I have typography open, and beneath that, I have all of my design options. I think that would be better. And again, this might be something that we could do using some custom CSS, but I think that would improve usability. So yeah, another little UI tweak that I think would be useful. Is there anything else that I want to mention? I don't think so. Those are just some of the things that kind of niggle me a little bit, but I'm sure I'll find a few more as time goes on, as I continue testing. But certainly the bugs, I think they need to be addressed very quickly, and hopefully they will come soon. Now, what I want to do to end this video is I just want to highlight a few feature improvements as well as additions that I'd like to see in maybe the next update. Again, these could be seen as personal preferences. Maybe I'm being a little bit too greedy here, but let me know what you think. First one, I think I've already mentioned some of these, but we'll go through them again. So the first one is the structure panel icon up here. So I'm so used to having my structure panel icon, I guess, on this side, or somewhere in here anyway. It is in bricks, it is in the older version of Oxygen, it is in Breakdance, I do believe. So yeah, that would be nice to have this moved over here, okay? The second one is more of an improvement on a feature that already exists inside here. So if I go to these three little dots, go to Global Settings and go to Code, we have our style sheets here, but it's pretty useless. What I would like to see is better style sheet management, naming of folders, maybe naming of the code snippets, Emmet support. I think those are essential. So if I just quickly, do I have a style sheet here yet? So if I open this up here and then expand the code box, this is pretty mediocre. Okay, so again, we need Emmet support inside of this. We need line numbers. And yeah, so what we have here at the moment is currently not very good. Since Oxygen 6 is kind of leaning towards devs, that is what they say, these need to be included in the IDE, I think. Yeah, definitely. So that is the other one. The other one is, again, something that we've already looked into, is highlighting. I want to see better highlighting of the active class tokens. The HTML tag as well up here, I think that could be highlighted a little bit better. So let me just right-click again and go to Inspect and find this in here. Let me select my node tool. Can we actually find this here? Yeah, here we go. Color is a gray. I mean, maybe we could change this to something like a yellow or something like this, like a green or a moss. Yeah, that is much better. Or maybe highlight the background or something. But yeah, it needs to have better visibility, better highlighting. So that is that. There is another one, I think. There's a couple more on my list. So workflow, it would be nice to have some kind of breadcrumbs somewhere on this page, somewhere inside of the editor, maybe at the bottom here, similar to what Webflow has here. Or you could have this at the top here somewhere. But yeah, some kind of breadcrumb navigation to make it easy to go back and forth. I know we have the structure panel and that's what it's for here, but anyway. Okay, so what else is there? Yeah, disable the delete option using the keyboard back key, because that could lead to catastrophically deleting elements, sections, or even the entire structure of your page. So yeah, the back or delete key needs to be disabled, I think. And what else? Yes, the panels. The panels could do, I think it'd be useful to have panels that are resizable, because we can't do that at the moment. We can only resize the viewport here, but we can't resize these side panels. So that would be useful. And lastly, maybe better security or better control around code execution. Okay, so we don't have that inside of the settings for Oxygen at the moment. But yeah, there you go. Just a few things. But I'm sure you guys can find a few more. Also, there's a host of features that are actually missing from this version of Oxygen that I've not talked about. I think the library, the components, the elements library, the native library for Oxygen is slightly thin. There isn't very much in there. I know you have the breakdance elements for Oxygen add-on, but yeah, I would like to see a few more native elements inside of the library. But I'm sure there's a lot more to come, and I have to keep reminding myself that this is a beta phase release of a completely new builder. So there it is. All right, so that is all that I have for you for now. I'll keep testing, and I'm looking forward to updates in the coming weeks, hopefully sooner than that. But until the next video, guys, take it easy and happy building. Keep exploring Oxygen 6 and let me know what you think. Cheers for now.